Hey, welcome everybody to Noodle Doodle, another episode of Noodle Doodle. I am your host, Lazaro Gomez, and we're gonna do like we do all the time. We're just gonna kind of sit here, shoot the breeze. I'm gonna enjoy my coffee and doodle something on my prompt book, or in my prompt book, I should say. Sweet. I hope all of you are having a good day, good morning, or good evening, or had a great day. We don't know. We have no idea when you listen to this thing or when you watch this. Or at least I don't. But yeah, today, oh man, today's prompt is the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper. I don't know how I feel about that one. Don't know how I feel about that one, but I don't know. Let's kind of make it fun, right? We're gonna make the Grim Reaper fun. How do we make him fun? I don't know. I guess make give him a little, make him a little derpy. The Grim Reaper, yeah, the derpy Grim Reaper. Anyways, um, yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and you're just kind of chilling or whatever, doing what you got to do. I know that I had a fairly busy week. I think. Did I? I think so. I had a pretty busy week. So, I don't know. Do we have a topic today? Maybe. I don't know. Kind of winging it, really. That's what happens when. That's what happens when you wake up early and you do this sort of you do this sort of stuff. Because I do the noodle doodle in the morning, and and then I go about my day. So yeah, I enjoy doing the noodle doodle. I don't know, it makes it fun. So we're making a cute Grim Reaper. Last time we talked about my old room and tiki stuff and Gilligan's Island. So, uh, in the I don't know, I guess in the same vein as that, we could talk about TV shows, right? TV shows. So, TV shows in the 80s were, I don't know, they were unique. They were unique in the sense that I guess you had everything. You had action, you had drama, you had sci-fi, you had telenovelas, you had all of those kinds of things in the 80s. But the TV shows were like wholesome and stuff like that. So it was really cool. On Netflix, they have this new thing. They have this new series where it's like 80s, 90s, and 70s. I think is the other one, 70s or anything like that, something like that. But um, they basically go through each decade and kind of tell you what was happening with each one, right? So the 80s, they were talking about the drug wars and the politics of Ronald Reagan. They were talking about relationships with Russia and TV shows and stuff like that, and all of these different places and different things that were all these things that were happening. So like I tend to hear a lot. Well, man, things have changed and times are way different, and it's not the way it was when we were kids, and it's definitely not the 80s, and it's definitely not the 90s. But it's true. It's like uh, every decade or every era has its own thing, its own um, unique circumstances. It's got its own problems. It's unique, fun. It's got everything, right? So the fun things, like the good things, the bad things, and everything in between. And we tend to think that, well, it was different in our time or it was unique. So oh, we used to leave our doors unlocked and this and that, whatever. And, of course, someone older, 50, 60, 70s, they were like, man, these 80s are crazy. They're killing people over drugs. And of course, looking back is the only way that you can kind of see that. So living in the 2000s and the 90s, and you look back at the 80s, and it's like different times. So, so yeah, like I mentioned before, I was born in '75. Um, I grew up in the '80s. Being an '80s kid, you had all of that stuff. You had, sci-fi. You had Dungeons and Dragons. You had video games, and so on and so forth, and all of these different technological advances. So you had cable television. Um, Betamaxes were turning into VCRs. There was a laser disc, but that came later on. But yeah, you had all of these cool things to happen in the '80s, and um, I don't know. I don't think I don't think things are so much different now than they were then. It's just a different flavor of that, right? So like, um, I'm making this Grim Reaper like crazy. It'll expand the whole page, but it's really cool because um, the prompts right next to it are lightsaber and then Fountain of Youth. So I'm gonna kind of tie it all in somehow. But yeah, going back to the 80s, I really don't um, I really don't think there's much of a difference. I don't. I'm making this. I'm making this Grim Reaper like really spread out and crazy looking. um, so yeah, I really don't think that times were that much different. You know, I really don't. I really don't think so. There was different things and stuff like that, and like I mentioned before, but times really weren't that different. The same problems that we had then, we have now. It's like you still have politics, you still have misinformation or misguided things, you still have all of these different things, right? You still have arts and entertainment, you still have music, and yeah, the styles and genres and all that stuff, they change, they come and go, and they create things and all of that good stuff. I get that. That has to exist, right? But I don't think it's all like, back in my day, things were normal. You guys are nuts. It's like, really though? I mean, if you think about it, it wasn't all that different. It wasn't all that different. But still, it is fun to kind of it is fun to kind of look back and see how far along we've advanced, and how how technology has done good things and bad things. So like, just like, you have the good and bad of technology, and I've seen several documentaries on that sort of stuff where it's like a dip, right? You have like the good side of technology and the bad side of technology. So uh, technological advances in social media, yeah, they have tied us all together, and we can stay in contact with our families and stuff like that. But at the same time, you tuned into your family and friends, but at the same time, it's just like they're posting all kinds of stuff like memes and funny jokes and videos and this and that whatever and photos, and it all comes along with it. So I mean, the good thing is you're connecting with your family, with your friends. The bad thing is it's kind of like an unfiltered kind of thing, like you're just blabbering stuff. Hey, look at this, hey, look at that. And um just recently, this dude, right, he was arrested. He was arrested and he had a giant neck and it became all like crazy, right? And that became all the rage. But it's like by the time by the time I saw it, or by the time people were sharing it with me, I've seen it already like 400 times. So that sort of stuff. It gets repeated. Like, I guess that's part of technology, right? So the reason, the fact that we have the internet and this and that, whatever, we're gonna be connected a lot faster. So if you shared something, chances are everybody saw it. So I think there's a lot of that in play. But um, but yeah, when it comes to technology, you have those sort of things, and it's kind of neat to see it all. I like to think, um, I like to consider myself like an outside observer, right? I've always kind of sat on the outside looking in at whatever it is that's happening, and I've kind of taken that approach with a lot of things, with work, with family. um I don't know, it just kind of makes me feel like I, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how to express that, but um it makes me part of whatever's going on, but at the same time, I just it's like watching a movie, right? You paid for the ticket, you know what you're getting into, and then you just kind of sit back and relax and see what all happens. See what all happens. So I tend to, like I said, I tend to look at things that way, and it's a matter of comfort. It kind of makes me feel good. It feels good to just kind of be an observer and see everything is what's going on with everything. So I tend to look at social media that way. And it's interesting because, of course, I'm an artist and I play a role in that. I'm part of that whole machine, and just getting people to check out my artwork and all of those kinds of things. And perhaps they are tired of it. Like, here's Laz again, and he's posting artwork and doing whatever. But uh, it's the same thing, right? I'm just posting a different kind of meme. But anyways, um, I don't get upset about that. I really don't. Pardon me. Um, I really don't get upset at that. I mean, all of those things have to exist. You know, um, we we as humans are social creatures. We like the interaction. We've always done that. It's in our human nature. Even going back to like prehistoric times. They gathered around the fire because it provided them light in the darkness and comfort. And everybody was kind of huddled in. It gave them warmth. It gave them comfort. It gave them light. And that's where they would share their stories, their hunting stories or gathering stories, or oh, today I saw a buffalo, or there's a tree over there, or whatever it was that they discussed, right? And that's it's no different now. We're still doing it on Facebook. Hey, I found in this restaurant they serve hot dogs, and over here is the best place to buy a purse. And we're still doing that. We're still gathering around the campfire, and that campfire happens to be Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. um, right now this is being broadcasted on YouTube, and it's also on SoundCloud. And if it's something that you enjoy, it's something that you like listening to or watching, then you're gathered around this campfire. And that's the whole thing. That's the difference. So when you look at, when someone says, "Oh, the times are different, or the times have changed, and this and that," yeah, I get it. Situations and things like that change, but the overall, um, the overall, I guess, experience or historical experience really is not all that different. And it's just something to think about. And I just thought it was neat, watching this TV show on Netflix, watching this documentary, if you would, and all of those things were there. And I just thought it was really interesting because, um, I was one of those people. I used to be like, "Oh, the '80s were the best," and blah blah blah. And I grew up in the '80s, and we had Star Wars, and we had blah blah blah, and But at the same time, um, were there better times? I don't know. Maybe the '60s with the Summer of Love and this and that, whatever. Maybe the '70s disco. I don't know. Never into disco. Um, but they had their unique social things too, because that's another documentary I saw about how rock music and stuff like that, like, destroyed destroyed disco. And yeah, sure, disco was great, but it got replaced. And I think that happens more than we would like to admit. I don't know. I seem to think that that happens more than we like to admit, especially now. Everybody, oh, millennial this, millennial that, and this is lit, and that's great, and all these different sayings and meanings and things like that. Uh, they're not all that different than than uh, than what existed in the past. So, food for thought. A little noodle doodle. After all, that's the whole point of the show, right? We just pick a topic, we talk about it and discuss it. I'm curious to know what you guys think. So, however you're listening to it, if you're on YouTube, leave me a comment and then tell me what you think, and maybe we could start up a discussion. I don't know. Um, I don't argue much online, so if you're looking for that sort of stuff, it's not gonna happen. We're gonna troll Laz. Troll away, dude. No, like I said, I always look at the positive side of things. And seriously, though, um, if you have something you want to talk about, let's open up a discussion. Let's see where it goes. Um, let's see where it goes. Right? We are always. I like to think we're always learning. We're always learning. We're always developing. We're always looking at different things, and that's uh, that's important. That's important. You want to always be at a point where you're just kind of in a constant state of education. And it's the reason why so many people read. Um, it's the reason why we ask questions. It's the reason why we're always looking for stuff like, talk about technology and tying things into education. Like, come on, Google. Google, everybody. Oh, how do we Google it? An argument. They're gonna settle an argument. Google it, and this and that, whatever. It's always Google, 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 and it's so cool because I mean I use Google all the time, and for whatever reason, because I don't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything. Uh, but it's a cool thing to have a tool just like that. Yeah, I get it. Um, Google is the modern T1000. I understand the rise of the machines and all that good stuff. But but I mean, all jokes aside, how many times have you gone to Google to reference something, right? And I just think it's so cool that we have a tool like that, and a technology at our hands that's going to be beneficial to mankind. I hope, as long as they don't, you know, activate it. But I'm sure we would have known by now because John Connor would have gone. Yeah, that's a whole other podcast. We would have seen John Connor now, right? At least that's the way it sounded when he came to the 90s, Guns N' Roses and all that good stuff. But well, it started in the 80s, but yeah, what have we learned today? Well, we learned that the Grim Reaper comes for every decade, and we're all part of it. At the current time, I am living through this decade and looking back at my previous decades and kind of thinking, man, you know what? That was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun. I had uh, every decade was unique, and I look forward to the future decade. We don't know. It may all be like Fallout, or it may not. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue this little guy today, and hopefully, here's the Grim Reaper. He's got a giant scythe, and I'm gonna keep adding to this particular piece. So, yeah, wherever you may find yourself, I hope you're having a good time. Take care of yourself. Uh, I don't know, read more books, educate yourself. You know what I mean? Just kind of don't worry about it. It's not so bad. It's not like, oh my God, what's happening to the world? Just choose every step carefully. That's the best thing to do. Choose your next step carefully, and drink some coffee or wine or whatever. Just chill out. All right, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you very much for listening to Noodle Doodle and for watching on YouTube. If this is your thing, tell your friends, let everybody know that we kind of just, sit back, relax, kind of laid back type deal. And we'll see you on the next Noodle Doodle. Yes, we'll see you on the next one. And if you haven't seen the previous ones, then by all means, BOT10ART SoundCloud. You can find all of them there. Also YouTube, BOT10ART YouTube channel. There's a whole playlist for Noodle Doodle, and go check them out. Go check them out. Give them some, give them some love and support. A like would be cool. And of course, if you're interested in this particular topic or any other ones, make sure to leave me a comment, and I'll reply to it. So, until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's been Noodle Doodle time. We'll see you real soon.